Okay, in this video, Hermson teaches you how to solve percent word problems, kind of using the method we did yesterday. So it says 10% of my paycheck is spent on groceries. Now I circled that because that's the percent trait. It was the amount that was spent on groceries. If I spend $300 of my paycheck on groceries, how much money is in my paycheck? So we're going to do what we did yesterday. Okay. We're going to put the percent over 100%, kind of just like that one assignment yesterday. Now the percent we're given in the problem is 10. Okay, so I use 10%. Now instead of doesn't really make any sense when you're dealing with a story problem. So what you need to do is the top, okay, top of the fraction is defined by your trait. So please put the trait spent on groceries or abbreviate it or something. Spent on, I just wrote spent on groceries. And the bottom is known as my total. Now, if you don't know where to put the 300, read the problem and see if that was spent on groceries. I spent $300 of my paycheck on groceries. So you're darn right that was spent on groceries. So $300 goes right there. The total is what I'm solving for. So I cross multiply and divide. I will be taking 300 times 100 and dividing by 10. That's 3,000, okay? So you put $3,000. The label should always match what's up here. So $300,000 is in my paycheck. I spent 10% of it on groceries. That accounts for $300. Okay, next one. 20% of the land in the United States is covered by mountains. If there are 200,000 square miles in the United States, how much is covered by mountains? Okay. So my percent trait, it's going to be 20% over 100%. Now, I use my trait to define the is and of. So the percent trait is covered by mountains. So that's up top. That's kind of like your is covered by mountains. And then this is my total, because of is usually represents your total. So I wrote covered by mountains. Okay, so read about those 200,000 square miles. Were they covered by mountains or not? There are 200,000 square miles in the United States. How much it's covered? Okay, so those 200,000 miles are not covered by mountains. So that does not go here. That goes in my total, and I have to find how many were covered by mountains. So I cross multiply and divide. I take 20 times 200,000. And then divided by 100. I got 40,000, okay? So x equals 40,000. And remember, the label should match up what this one is, square miles. Okay, 45% of the trolls in the magic forest had happy faces. If 200 trolls had happy faces, how many trolls were there altogether? Okay, so we have our percent over 100%. Now our percent is given to us. It's 45. Now again, the trait is the top. Had happy faces. And this is your total. Now, did 200 trolls have happy faces? You darn betcha. Those are happy little guys. Okay, and then X here. And then we take 200 times 100 divided by 45. Now we want to round that to 400, either 444. Because we can't have a decimal. We don't want to cut a troll in half, poor little guys. Okay, 444 trolls. Okay, I can bench press 200% of my body weight. If I can bench press 500 pounds, what is my body weight? Okay, so I have my proportion with the percents, and 200% And what defines that 200%? What's its trait? It's the bench press. And the total actually, I'll put total because that's what we always do, but the total is actually my body weight. So can I bench press 500 pounds? You bet. Now, I can't really, and that's X. So we cross multiply and divide. So we take 500 times 100 and divide that by 200. And he weighs 250 pounds. That's the body weight. Okay, moving right along. 40% of the students in school dressed up for Spirit Day. If 120 dressed up for Spirit Day, how many students are there in this school? Okay, so my percentage is 40%, over 100%. Now, what trait defines a percent? Dressed up for Spirit Day. Okay, now I got to decide where to put the 120. It said they dressed up for Spirit Day, so that's my total. So that definitely belongs up here, okay? And then X, the total I'm finding, okay? So I take 120 times 100 divided by 40, and that's 300, okay? So there were 300 total students, so 300 students. See, nothing that hard. 60% of the roads need to be reconstructed. If there are 300 roads, how many need reconstructing? Okay, so the percent. So you got 100% and 60%. Now, what defines the 60%? What trait? They need to be reconstructed. Okay, and then total. Now we have 300 roads, but do the 300 roads need reconstructing? No, it's just how many there are, so that wouldn't go here. That'd be my total, and then X is what I'm solving for. I'm solving. It says how many need to be reconstructed, so I have to solve for that. Okay, so I take 300 times 60 divided by 100, and I got 180. So 180 roads need to be reconstructed. Okay, now you need to hit the pause button and do your problems, and then when you're done, join me and play the video, and I'll go over the next one. But you should definitely work on that other one first so you're not all confused. Okay, now the next packet is more percent problems, but this is a different ball game. You can't use the percent proportion. I'm going to explain why here in a second. There are 500 stray cats in the town of Alto. That amount is going to increase by 5%. How many cats will there be after the 5% increase? Now, there's no trait that really defines the cats other than the word increase. So I don't have that cool little trait where I can just use the proportion. There's no percent trait. Instead, what it is an increase by a percent. Sometimes it's a decrease by a percent. Well, when you have increases and decreases by a percent, here's what you should do. Okay? You're going to make this little equation here. You're going to write blank, put a multiplication dot, and then another blank equals the product, okay? So you're going to formulate that. Now here's what these blanks represent. The first blank is the original amount. Actually, instead of original, why don't you just put before? That should be better. The amount before. This is my percent. And this is how many we have after. Okay, now what we do first is fill out our percent, but we have to do it a little different way. You start with 100%, okay? You have to start with that. You can't just put 5 in there. It's not going to work. Now, if I'm increasing by 5%, I'm going to add 5% to 100. If it would say decrease, I'd subtract. so 105%. Now you put the decimal at the end, you have to move it twice to the left, and that's 1.05. That is what my percent factor is. Now, where do I put 500? Does it go in before or after? But read the question, okay? You need to read the question. How many cats will there be after the 5% increase? So the question, it means I got to find how many are after. So this is X. 500 was before. And you just multiply, okay? You take 500 times 1.05, and that gives me 525 cats, okay? Boom. Okay, a school's number of students decreases by 5%. There were 600 students after the decrease. How many students were there before? Okay, so again, it's a decrease by a percent. There's no trait involved, so I set up blank times blank equals blank. Okay, so if this is my percent factor in the middle, and this is before times percent equals after. So let's get our percent first. You take 100%, and then a decrease means we're going to subtract 5%. So that's 95%. Now move your decimal twice to the left. 0.95, put it as 0.95. When it's less than 100, I should see the 0 there. And then read the question. Okay, rather than drive yourself nuts, I don't know where to put the 600. Read the question. How many students were there before? You notice how I circled before too. That means we're solving for the before. We don't have that, so that's X. Then 600 go after. Now, we obviously can't multiply because we don't have one of the factors. So what we have to do is divide. Now, you don't have to show your work, but when you divide, you got to take the 600 into your calculator first, divided by 0.95. Now, we're talking students here, so we want to round that to a whole number. We're going to round it to 632. So, 632 students. You had that many, then they decrease. Now you have 600. Okay, an item is marked up 15%. It costs $15.59 after the markup. What is the price before the markup? Okay, so again, it's a percent increase. Okay, we go before times percent equals after. So before percent after. Okay, so we take 100%, and it says up 15, so that would be adding on 15%. So 100 plus 15 is 115%. Now again, you have to move the decimal twice. You can't just put 115. That's got to be 1.15. When you're using the proportions, you don't have to make percents decimals, but when using this, you have to. Okay, now, I'm not sure where to put 1559, so how about I read the question? It said, what was the price before the markup? So that means I do not have the before, but I do have the afterwards is 1559. So again, I can't multiply because I'm missing one of the two factors. So to find what that factor is, I divide. I take 15.59 divided by 1.15. It has to be divided in that order. Okay, now this is money. So money we want to round to the nearest hundredth. So 13.5, and then that 5 is going to change to a 6. So that's going to be $13.56. Okay. Okay, an item is on sale for 25% off its original price of $45. How much is it after the sale? Okay, so again, those words, these are called percent increase decrease. They're not the percent traits like you did in the first packet. There's no trait that defines it other than the fact that it's percent off. Okay, so you got your before amount times your percent equals your after amount. Okay, so I take 100%. and it's 25% off, which means it's going down, so we subtract, and that takes us to 75%. Now get that decimal twice to the left. Now if the point ends up at the beginning, you put a 0 in front. So 0.75 is my percent. Now, I don't know where to put 45. Well, let's read what we don't know. The question, how much is it after the sale? So we don't have the after amount. We do have the before amount, 45. And on this, I can just do the multiplication operation to take me to the x. So 45 times 0.75. So this is a money problem, so I'll take the decimal, $33.75. Buy a textbook for $40. After I'm done with it, I can sell it for 12% more than what I bought it for. How much can I sell it for after I'm done? Okay, so again, the only thing that defines a percent is it's more. So that would be this equation here. So we got before times the percent equals after. So we got to get our percent, but you don't just put 12. You got to take 100% and plus your 12%, which is 112%. Move the decimal twice to the left, and that is 1.12. Okay, now read the question. I got to find out what I sold for after I was done. So I don't have the after. I do have the before. I have the before is 40. Okay. So we take 40 times 1.12. 44.8. Again, when you're talking about money, we'll put 44.80 because that's 80 cents. Okay, and then finally, gas decreased in price by 5%. If the gas price after the decrease was $2.39, how much should gas cost before it decreased? So again, decrease, that means with this percent problem, I go before times percent equals after. That's how to set it up. Okay, so you got 100%. It decreases by 5%, so minus 5%. That's 95%. Okay. So remember to move the decimal twice to the left, and it's 0.95 when it ends up at the beginning like that. How much should gas cost before? It means I don't have the before, okay? I have the after. I have $2.39. So I will not be multiplying here. Instead, I will be dividing. I will be dividing $2.39 by 0.95. Now, when you divide, you have to round, okay? Now, you're talking money, so we'll round to the nearest hundredth, second decimal place. That's going to become a 2, because when it's 5, it becomes 2.52. All right, guys, and you have the rest to work. Oh, I'll give you a heads up on one of the problems, okay? Problem number 5, okay? Car's $9,000 when it's bought. It's sold for 60% less than what it was bought. Find the price the car was sold for. When you're selling the car, that's afterwards. So the question's asking you to find the afterwards. You will have the before amount given to you. All right, guys, that's what I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll chill with you next time.